This episode of Behind the Video is brought to you by the Independent Media Network. The Independent Media Network helps journalists and content creators create their own jobs by building sustainable online businesses. If you're an unemployed or underemployed journalist or content creator, visit imnct.com for more information.
Hey everybody, we are back. This is Behind the Video, episode number 35. We're recovering from our various Las Vegas experiences, and it was more recovering from work than fun. But Tim Street is joining me from Los Angeles, back in his home. How are you, Tim?
Doing well. I feel like somebody beat me with a stick in Vegas, and I didn't pay them to do that. Although you can pay for that if you want to in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been trying to avoid the flu that everyone had there, so it's been taking everybody down. I was just on a train today from New York, and everybody I happened to sit next to on these various trains I had to take to get there was like sick as a dog, on top of all the other people coughing on me at the new Media Expo. But thankfully, I haven't been sick yet. Let's hope it stays that way.
Good.
Let's hope it stays that way. So we got a lot to talk about. So we'll kind of run through our news of the week, and then we will talk about the week that was New Media Expo, and maybe a little bit about CES too, because I think there's a lot of good stuff for independent creators at this conference that I certainly got a lot out of it. So but we'll move first to our broadcast shows of the week, and coming in at number 5, I actually watched this show this week, was NCIS Los Angeles. Funny show.
It's funny. I never knew that show to be funny.
Well, it's kind of funny that the director lady, she was on Boston Legal. That she was the short judge. She cracks me up. I like her. So huge audiences this week on broadcast. 17 million viewers on the NCIS Los Angeles. Golden Globes edged it out though at 19 million viewers. Did you catch the Golden Globes?
I only caught clips of it. Looked like it was a fun time. Looked like the hosts were cutting it up. Did you watch it?
I didn't. I saw some of the red carpet stuff that my wife was watching, but it looks like a lot of social media buzz about it, of course, and certainly some good Oscar buzz coming out. I think people are kind of getting excited about films again. It just seems like there's a lot more energy around Hollywood lately. I don't know if you're feeling that.
No. I'm hanging out with many web video people.
That's right. You're too close to the action there too. But number 3 was The Big Bang Theory on CBS with 20 million viewers. It's huge. NCIS, the original, watch that one too. That is at number 2 with 21 million viewers. And the Fox NFC playoff game, 30 million viewers. That was from Saturday night, January 12th. So football is still the reigning champion. And if we move over to cable, it is certainly that way there with the BCS Bowl, ESPN's coverage of that, occupying all of the top 5 rankings on our list. The BCS championship game, by the way, had 26 million viewers on cable. So
that's pretty good.
That is pretty good. I could do something
I was
with
walking through a casino and I heard cheers, and I looked over and football game was on. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a college championship game."
There is something going on out here. So, and I'm sure either people were winning or losing money based on that game. But it sounds like more were winning if they were cheering, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So let's move on to some movies. The top 5 of the week: Les Miserables, whatever, 119 million bucks overall, 9.64 million. That's been kind of getting mixed reviews, right? Because they did the music more raw than show tune style.
Yeah, but they're also getting a lot of Oscar nods, so it's doing really well. I mean, the Oscar buzz about it is going great, and Anne Hathaway is incredible in it. I've seen some clips of her, and Hugh Jackman, he's a very talented man, but it is just bizarre seeing him do that.
The whole singing thing, right?
Yeah. He's very talented. He does a great job, but it's still kind of weird.
Yeah,
especially if you're kind of a Wolverine fan. It's just a little weird.
So we'll see if the next X-Men there get some singing.
Yeah, if he breaks out into
song, right? Then you know they've jumped the shark. Number 4 is Django Unchained. Hearing a lot of good things about this film, despite its controversial opening. 125 million.
Yeah, if you don't mind violence, go see this film. If you are bothered by violence, stay away.
and it's certainly a Quentin Tarantino film, so you know what you're getting into with those. I really liked Inglourious Bastards, so I'm probably going to check out Django Unchained.
He definitely, and there's some Oscar buzz about Django as well with Best Supporting Actor.
Gangster Squad, another violent film, opened up this week. $17 million at its open. Have you seen or heard anything?
I want to go see that one. I was recovering from Vegas. So,
you didn't get a screener of that one, huh?
No, I won't get a screener of that one. Don't think I will. I don't think that one will be up for any PGA awards next year.
So not really pushing that one then.
You never know.
There was a scene on Letterman where there was a guy pouring acid on somebody else, so that was I was like, oh, okay, I guess I can get a feel for the ambiance of this one.
It's a good one to take the mom to.
Yeah. Exactly.
Take your grandmother.
Take the grandmother, exactly. Just bring them all. Bring the family.
Hey, Grandma, you remember when cops were really tough? Oh yeah.
They used to pour acid on people. So
that's awesome.
Number 2 is A Haunted House, and this looks like a comedy horror film. Malcolm and Keisha moving into their dream home and soon learn a demon resides there. It seems like this is one of those like manufactured stories that
scary movie,
and just happens over and over again. So, but $18 million this week, so not a bad way to start out the week. And number 1 is Zero Dark 30, coming in.
Go see it.
I heard it's really good.
Go see it.
So I'm going to put that on my list to go see too.
Go see it.
So the buzz this week on IMDb on upcoming films is Outside Satan.
And of course it is. Why, yes.
In a village on the French Opal Coast, a drifter engages in a perplexing relationship with a young woman who has suffered abuse. It's a drama. It's like one of these independent movies.
I thought it was going to be a comedy.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a comedy.
And it's in a different, I think it's a French film or something. So
there you go.
It's got subtitles, so the subtitle movies always rule. But closer to home, Jurassic Park 4 is coming out in June of 2014.
That's huge.
It is huge. Huge dinosaurs. Spielberg, he won't be directing, according to TheWrap.com, but he is going to produce the project with Frank Marshall. So,
what do you think, J.J. Abrams?
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't touch it.
I don't know how you would reinvent the dinosaur movie for the third time, but
I know it'll start out. They'll have those little dinosaurs inside the capsule, and then you pour water on them, and they turn into Wait, no, that was Gremlins. Never mind.
That is funny. Well, we just got a caller into the show here. Brian Parker is joining us from OnTheHorn.com, so we'll let him come on board and comment on as we go here. So that's it for the movies this week. I'm sure we'll have more Oscar stuff to talk about next week. But and I want to get Brian in on the discussion on the top YouTube videos of the week. The first is Slam Dunk Supertramp Style. And I haven't watched it. I'm going to watch this as we talk here. There's some good stuff this week on the YouTube boards here. So.
Absolutely. Number 1 is incredible. But the slam dunking is great.
So I will check that one out. It looks like they got
we're going to have a link to that in our show notes.
We will have a link to that in the show notes. There's some favorable ad positions here because I'm forced to watch the 30-second pre-roll on YouTube for this one. But that was a great one. The couple of music videos in the middle there. Painful Wedgie Bully. I guess that's a web series, Tim, right?
I didn't see that. That wasn't in my list. I had Justin Timberlake walking around a studio.
Maybe that one's on there too. Yep. It looks like there's a. This is a Bully Part 13. Looks like a.
No, I missed that one.
Yeah. It looks like it's you know what it is? It's a game. It's one of these game streams where someone's doing something.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. You kind of a Twitch.tv kind of deal there.
Yeah, the Justin Timberlake thing, don't waste your time.
No. Now, I guess he's like big on MySpace now, right? Is that his new thing, Justin Timberlake?
Well, he invested in it, so
right.
He better be big on it.
And I guess he released his music video live there, right?
Yeah, so we'll see.
Brian Parker, are you a Justin Timberlake fan?
Huge Justin Timberlake fan. I can't get enough of him. I absolutely love him. I listen to all his music all the time.
And you follow him on MySpace?
I do. In fact, I'm moving my blog off of Google Plus, Facebook, and WordPress, and I'm going exclusively to MySpace.
That's pretty cool. That's
and
very
I hear they even have, as you move your cursor around, you can have little heart trails of the cursor. on each one of your
Wow.
videos.
Wow.
I'm so excited
That's
about
pretty
that
cool.
because I think that's technology.
It is where it's at. It's where it's going to be. I will say MySpace looks pretty cool. I haven't really played around too much with it yet, but I'm always looking for a good landing page for all my stuff, and whoever gets that to work properly, I am in. So the number one video this week, next to Justin Timberlake and Keisha, with the $sign, of course, is drive-through invisible driver prank.
Oh, this was
The
great.
best.
I have to say, this is
It's
probably one of the best
awesome.
prank videos ever.
It is awesome.
And this guy makes a car seat costume. In other words, he's sitting in the car seat and he's wearing another car seat. So when he pulls up to the drive-through window, they're not seeing anybody in the car, and it is.
I want to see
hysterical.
how he hid the camera. Did he make another like costume for his camera? Because the way the camera's set up is it's shooting right into the drive-through window, so they have to be able to see the camera.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
but you know what though? I mean, it's dark in the car,
Yeah.
so they might not be able to see it.
I'm sure he engineered it because those reactions were hysterical.
They're-
Some were great where the guy is like, he like opens the window, there's no one there. Opens the window, closes the window, closes the window, opens the window, comes back. It's great.
It's
I think
awesome.
It works best too when they see the car pulling up. So it is a work of brilliance, and I guess he does a bunch of these things. It's called his channel is The Magic of Rayhat, all one word. This one had 28 million views when I checked it out earlier today. So he's going to have to top this. I'm not sure how, but this was pretty simple. It didn't cost him all that much money, and off the shelf cameras, and he did a great job on it. So
Yeah, did he take the other seat out? That's really what I don't understand.
no, he's sitting in the seat.
He's sitting in the seat. He just slides
He's
it back and then wears a
way back,
costume
okay.
on top of it.
Yeah, and
It
if you
really
look,
is. It's great.
and he sets it up too. He does it really well because he sets it up talking about exactly how he did it before the video starts. So you kind of, you're
Yeah,
not.
you start laughing before he's even pulling the prank. It's great.
It was great. I was watching this on the train ride home, and I was cracking up laughing, and I think people were starting to stare at me. But they do anyhow. So we got some news in video this week. Kevin Smith is signing with Maker Studios, and as you know, this is according to TubeFilter.com. Kevin Smith is the director of one of my favorite movies of my youth, Clerks, and many, many others. And he is going to be doing some YouTube work with Maker Studios now, which is, I guess, kind of a big deal, Tim, right?
Yep, it's a big deal, big name. Be interesting to see how it works out, how it pans out. You know, Maker had some problems recently with their number one YouTuber, who's no longer number one. He got passed up by Smosh this week as well. So Ray William Johnson is not the number one subscribed YouTube channel anymore. So who knows how that all is going to play out. But yeah, a lot of things going on in the space. And also, I just heard this afternoon that Adam Carolla is being sued by one of his podcast partners for not being paid. So I don't know. That was reported by The Wrap, and I haven't heard the whole story yet. I saw that the person's name was Donnie, which made me wonder if it was Adam Carolla's childhood friend, Donnie, who, if you've ever met Donnie, oh my God, he's out there. So, anyways.
I think it speaks to the importance of having a really good agreement with whoever you go into business with, and this is one of those problems that I don't know if you've seen this, Tim, in just in the video industry in general, but you get started doing kind of a hobby thing, and the next thing you know, like the guy with the car, he's building 26 million views overnight, and suddenly he's got a substantial following. I guess you really got to prepare for this stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to get your prenuptial agreement in place.
And know what everyone is responsible for and what they own. Otherwise, it could come back to bite you there. Another little thing, though, Adam Carolla related, was that he is also launching a video podcast network on YouTube. And I'd like to hear Brian's thoughts on this, because, Brian, you're building a podcast network also. It's not an easy thing to do. Do you think this will help, having a big name doing a long-form video podcast on YouTube?
I think it will help others in the same fashion that folks like Leo Laporte have helped us just kind of figure out, like, we need some structure, you know? It's not radio, it's not TV, it's something else in the middle. How formal is it? How informal can it be? So, and he's got a lot of resources behind him. Not an awful lot, but he certainly has more than us.
Yeah, he actually, Adam Carolla had a battle with Kevin Smith as well, because Kevin has a podcast, and I think they like duked it out on the air together just for fun. They came
Yeah,
on
I
each
think. Well, I
other's
think that
shows.
was just to inspire.
stunt.
Yeah, to get
Controversy
people-
builds interest, right?
It does, and it also gives a way to cross pollinate between two sets of followers, if you will, that people could find, because they're both doing the man kind of stuff, and there's a real good cross correlation there if they can build viewership together. It just kind of raises a high tide raises all ships, or whatever the term is, but it could be a big thing. Tim, YouTube long form, does it work yet? I haven't seen too many examples of that.
Yeah, I haven't either. It's just not the place that people go. I mean, also people don't really go there for their favorite TV shows or their favorite long form entertainment. It doesn't have the same brand permission that Hulu has or that Netflix has. So technically it's possible. It's just I don't think it's caught on. It seems to be a snack bar. You go for bite-sized entertainment.
Because it doesn't seem like a lot of people are streaming YouTube to their televisions yet. I just don't hear a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, not yet. But I gotta tell you, man, I've been using the what was it called on Apple, where you can AirPlay mirror.
Oh yeah, yep.
No, I love
I've
that.
got the Apple TV hooked up to my large TV, and I can have my desktop basically on my MacBook Air is now on my TV, and I've got like a 50-inch TV, so that's a big, you can watch videos there and they look great.
And it's a great way to get around Hulu's restrictions too. If you want to watch Hulu on your big screen, just do the AirPlay and you're
there you go,
off and running. So we're going to do a quick app of the week, and then we're going to talk a lot about what we picked up at New Media Expo this week. And I know Brian wasn't there, but you can ask us questions if you hear anything of interest to you.
I would certainly love to. Hey, can I do one little piece of YouTube news, which I think is actually pretty important? Not on necessarily the YouTube side, but a use of Google Hangouts and YouTube at the same time. There was a reporter in Delaware, Michelle Lee, who is the anchor of the evening news there, who every night, Monday through Friday, holds a hangout so viewers can watch the behind the scenes while she's live on the air. The camera is literally, this is the camera for the television, this is the camera for the hangout.
Right.
And she's doing this every single night, and she's developed this huge community of folks. And I really thought that was great, because my interpretation of the regular old broadcast media is they're very lazy, but that's the only advantage little guys like us have.
What about the commercials?
You hear the commercials, but they mute it. So what happens is the feed actually comes from another person that's logged in. They send the feed through there in the 10-person hangout, and then Michelle has her own.
If I was an advertiser, I'd be a little bit upset.
Yeah,
if they were doing that.
Drawing viewers away from the broadcast one.
Yeah, they're giving away content for free that I'm paying to have my brand on, and I'm not getting the exposure. That would upset me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean, is that
you don't think I'd be upset?
Well, I mean, I don't really know if they're drawing away from it. I think they're adding to it. I don't think they're drawing.
But there's no benefit for the person who's paying for that show.
There's no benefit. Well, the benefit is still the same, that they are getting access to that television audience.
If they're muting my commercial and they're not seeing it the way that I paid for it to be seen,
but
they're still
they're not
getting
seeing
the content that I have paid for that content to be there.
Right, but you paid only for access to the audience, and they're giving you that access to the television broadcast audience.
Right,
they're not giving you access to the
correct,
the hangout
but
audience.
the content that is there, that information is being given away for free. Does that make sense?
It does, but it's also, just because you're an advertiser, it doesn't mean you own a slice of the content. You own nothing. You don't get any.
Well, I think that's ultimately the big issue is that that's why HBO hasn't moved over to getting around the cable company, and that there's a need there for the cable company to get their piece of the pie, and with advertisers especially, who. The reason you can't get CNN on your iPad without having a cable subscription is for that very reason, that the advertisers need their ads to run over that. And
somebody's got to pay for the content.
And I could see them easily fixing that, right? They could just run the ads over the Hangout.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Of course, then YouTube would want and Google would want their cut.
Well, here's what I will say, and this will lead us into our new Media Expo discussion because this is very relevant. Is to maybe to some degree or to a large degree, these advertisers have no idea that she's even doing the Hangout because
Probably not. Probably not.
One of the New Media Expo, by the way, was held in Las Vegas right after the first of the year, and Tim and I were both out there. Tim was kind enough to give me the ability to speak on a panel on live streaming, where we talked about the show and other things. And there's a whole bunch of great stuff on the New Media Expo site that you can watch. All the keynotes are up there, and there's some good ones. Guy Kawasaki was great, and there's one in particular that really hit home for me, and that was a presentation by the CEO of TechnoRaddy, and that one happened early on in the session. You can find that on the Ustream page for New Media Expo. And what TechnoRaddy's been doing every year is they go out and they do a study of new media and how advertisers and brands are looking at influencers and vice versa. And by influencers, I'm talking about people like us who are doing podcasts and blogs and really have strong opinions and knowledge of things, so much so that they actually create shows and talk about them. And what she found, and she'll be releasing this report when they're finished with it on February 1st, is that what advertisers think they know is not what the reality is, and that advertisers are so focused on things like ComScore and all this other junk when there's huge followings in small niches of content creators that they're pretty much ignoring. And they went out and interviewed about 150 agencies, 1,200 content creators, and a whole bunch of audience people, everyday people that listen to independent content, and are going to really build a great profile, I think, that will really help benefit all of us, that we can start taking this report or things like it and going to these advertisers and saying, look, don't just look at the ComScore numbers. You got to come up with some other benchmarks here, and here's how perhaps you can do that. And that, to me, really defined the whole week, because we met a lot of really talented people, all of which I think are at the beginning of a very exciting time in media. There wasn't too many people that had been millionaires out of this thing, unless you look at maybe some of the success that Leo Laporte and Guy Kawasaki may have brought with them from their other mediums. But a lot of real effort going on and some really high quality stuff. And I think it's just a matter of time before advertisers begin to take notice. And with one exception there was Ford. Ford had a pretty good presence. They sent their social media person. They had
Scott Monty was there. He did a great job. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about Scott Monty was that he did a case study on a social media project that they did with Ryan Seacrest. And he was very forward about what worked and what didn't work, and all to the chagrin of his marketing people at Ford. And he was like, he told me, he said, I had to fight with the marketing guys and say, look, guys, I have to be authentic to this crowd. And they're like, you can't say this, that it didn't work. You can't. And he's like, look, it didn't work. We need to say what worked and what didn't work. And I think they're, from me, an outsider, looking at the campaign that they did, Ryan Seacrest is a big name. He's great. They spent a lot of money to get him, but he didn't necessarily connect with people, and it didn't feel authentic. He's an excellent presenter. He's awesome on TV. He's awesome on radio. But you don't really feel like you're connecting with Ryan Seacrest the same way that you feel like you're connecting with Chris Brogan or CC Chapman or the guys from Marketing Over Coffee, Christopher S. Penn and John Wall. You don't get that interaction with Ryan that often. I mean, you do if you call in on his radio show. But other than that, you don't get it. And then they also had the guy from John McHale, from Talk Soup. They had him, and I never realized how much John and Ryan looked alike until I saw that Ford campaign. And I was like, it's just really confusing what the product was that they were promoting, what the purpose was, and they're traveling around America, and it just felt forced. And they did have some success with it, but there were some flaws to it. And Scott Monty was cool enough to talk about that to all of us in the new media space. And I really appreciate him for doing that.
I do too, because I think a lot of what we do as independent creators is we fail a lot, and not because we suck, but because we're all experimenting and trying to figure out where things are going. And it was great to see some examples of a company, not with necessarily unlimited resources for this kind of thing, but certainly more resources than most of us can bring to bear, to see just how they suffer through the same things that we do, and what an equalizer to some degree the YouTube space and the entire social media space is for a lot of this. And one thing I heard a couple of speakers mention was this notion of artisanal media. And I heard Leo Laporte talk about it, and I think Guy Kawasaki kind of brought it up too. I think that was a pretty telling thing, that we're creating more specialty kind of content to a specialized audience, and it was kind of something I hadn't really thought about before, but had known it all along. And I was curious, Tim, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, is it good to call us artisanal like this?
Sure. I mean, that's fine. It's great for content. It's really cool that you can get the kind of content that you're looking for. The tough part is that it doesn't scale well and it doesn't monetize well. Media buyers, they want to make a media buy and do it as little as possible, do as few contracts as possible, and be done and go home or go out for drinks with their buddies after work. And that's hard to do when you're dealing with a whole bunch of independent content creators. So there is something to be said for the maker studios, the full frames, the big frames that are out there, and some of the other networks like Revision 3 that are rolling up the different YouTubers. And helping them sell across the different, they're calling them multi-channel networks is the new phrase that is being used in the industry. And I think we may see something from My Damn Channel pretty soon that will help us all out. I was hoping to hear an announcement at the end of last year, but they're still crossing the T's and dotting the I's, or dotting the T's and crossing the I's, right. As the case may be. But hopefully we'll hear something about what they're doing. They've been one of the YouTube channel partners in the past, and I think they've got something big in the works soon, but no details have emerged yet.
What's comforting for me too is meeting some like really high-end YouTubers who are doing really, really well on YouTube, to learn that they're having the same problems I'm having trying to get somebody over at YouTube to help me when I get wronged by their justice system. So it seems like it's a problem everybody's having.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, even iJustine, who has millions of subscribers, has gotten flagged for different things. I mean, she did a tribute video, I think, to Steve Jobs, and it got flagged. It's like, oh man,
it's incredible. It really is. But again, it's just something that they all deal with. But I have to say though, overall, that it was a really a wonderful conference, mainly because a lot of independent content conferences tend to go off in different specific directions, and in that I mean, print or written content creators go to one thing, and podcasters to something else, and maybe ebook people to another thing. And this really brought everybody together, and I thought that was a really appropriate way to have a conference like this, because so much of what we're doing has so many cross connections, and every site needs video, audio, and text, and I think that's kind of an important thing. So,
well, I was talking to the new Media Expo guys, and next year I think we're going to see even more cross-pollination, where there will be bloggers and video content creators and podcasters all on the same panel, which I think will really make that even more valuable conference. I always find myself wanting to go support my friends that are talking about web video or about YouTube videos. I want to go see their panels, and at the same time, there's usually like a blogger or a podcaster that's talking on another panel at the same time. That's like, oh man, do I go see my friend and support them and hear stuff that I already know, or do I go listen to a blogger or a podcaster and learn something new? And I was able to pop into a few new ones. One of the ones that I really enjoyed was about giving stuff away for free, and how giving stuff away for free can really help you monetize your products. And I often bring this example is that you'd never open up an ice cream store and give away ice cream free all day long every day, expecting that someday somebody would come along and buy your ice cream store. But it's okay to give out free samples. It's okay to have free ice cream cone day, that kind of stuff. Look at HBO, look at Showtime. They give away free samples once a year, and they get people to sign up for it. They see that there's fun programming on those channels, and I think there's opportunities for all of us independent content creators to use the free things that we're creating to get people interested in other products that we sell for money, because it has to be paid for somehow, otherwise it's just a hobby.
And that, I think, is the best advice there is try to figure out a way to sell it and get beyond the hobby component and really move into something greater there. So, well, it was a great conference. Again, Tim, thanks for having us out there. It was good to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, it's funny. That was the first time we met in person. So
I've never seen Tim below his upper neck there. So
he has legs.
He has legs, and he walks and everything.
I was much shorter in person.
Actually, quite the opposite. He was taller in person than I thought he would be. But I'm shorter than most people. So, but it was good. We had a couple breakfasts together. We got to meet a lot of cool people, and it was a good time. So. We'll have to look forward to seeing whatever the next conference is. And I think it's great, too, for content creators really to stay on top of some of these conferences and try to get to at least a couple a year, because you can really make some great connections with people that can really help, and you could help too by helping others as well. So it's a great community. So, but that'll give us enough to talk about for this week, and we'll be back again next week. We're going to be playing around with different recording times, so we'll try to give you ample warning as to when those recordings are taking place. But Brian Parker, where can people find you and your network?
You can always go to onthehorn.com, or just follow us on Twitter at onthehorn500, or you can join our brand new G Plus community, which is just called On the Horn.
Nice.
That's easy enough to find, On the Horn. Tim, where can people find you and all your good
You
stuff?
can find me on Twitter at OneTimStreet.
And you can find me on anywhere on the web. Just go to LONSEIDMAN.com. That'll go to my Google Plus page that will give you a breakdown of all the things that I am doing with myself these days. So that will do it for this episode of Behind the Video. We are a wrap. Stories for this episode were compiled by producer Jason Perrier. Follow him on Twitter at JASONPERRIER. Behind the Video is a production of Ape Digital Incorporated and the Independent Media Network, LLC. All rights reserved.